A lot of people are hard on themselves. And another fact we researched was self-compassion is more strongly associated with resilience and emotional well-being than self-esteem, and is linked to lower anxiety, depression, and faster recovery from stress.
So how does self-compassion help people bounce back and recover faster from burnout, mistakes, or emotional overload in your experience?
Yeah, so self-compassion, I would say probably of the resilience skills we talk about today, self-compassion is the one that personally I've been trying to lean into the most the past year or so, largely because of the research. So let me start with the Taekwon with the kind of research that you cited. So you're absolutely correct. Self-compassion is really becoming one of the most powerful resilience skills that we can have based on the emerging research. And when we really look at the difference between self-esteem and self-compassion, self-esteem is really about kind of evaluating ourselves in a positive way, right? Kind of having positive regard for ourselves, our abilities, what we're good at, what we can contribute. Self-compassion is all about how we respond to ourselves when it's hard, right? When we aren't our best self, things aren't going the way we had hoped, or we aren't performing or responding as, the way we would have hoped either. So and I think that's a really important distinction to make in mind when we talk about self-compassion. It's much more about how we support ourselves when we're going through hard and tough times. So the heart of self-compassion is really having the ability, or learning to have the ability, to really treat yourself with the same level of kind of empathy and understanding and support that you would treat someone that you cared about who was struggling. Again, when we talk about just kind of how we're wired, and we talked about that negativity bias, that our brain tends to focus a bit more on the negative, what we do know is that especially during times of stress, a lot of people tend to really respond to themselves more harshly and be more self-critical of how they're responding or how they're navigating stress. We just know that kind of baseline, that's kind of for a lot of people, that's just like our human response to kind of beat up on ourselves when things aren't going that well. When we do that, and this is probably the most important takeaway I want people to remember from everything we talk about today, when we criticize ourselves, and we engage in that inner self-talk where we're being harsh and judgmental about whatever it is that we're doing or feeling or thinking, our brain experiences that as an internal attack and a threat to our safety. It kicks off our fight or flight response. Cortisol, one of our stress hormones, increases. Again, like we talked about, frequent fight or flight response results in frequent physiological arousal. That directly contributes to mental exhaustion and depletion. When we practice self-compassion, it kicks off an entirely different system in our brain. It's called the mammalian care system. And what this system does is that when we are understanding towards ourselves, we are kind towards ourselves, we show ourselves empathy and cut ourselves a break, it actually releases oxytocin.